Hi everyone, welcome to Summer. Summer starts with Spooky Ask Me Anything, where we have a local expert come on board to talk about the area of expertise. Today we have Roman Nowak, who has gracefully agreed to come on board and talk about his area of expertise. Roman graduated from the Military University of Technology. His degree was in electronics and telecommunications. He then worked for 10 years in the field of building, measuring and repairing telecommunication lines, both as an engineer and as a senior engineer of telecommunication teams. Later, Roman became lecturing communication technologies to trainees in military training centres. Before leaving the army, Roman taught himself English and gained several English teaching certificates. He also gained a degree in pedagogics and commenced work as a high school English teacher. Teaching became Roman's passion, and to this day, Roman teaches students how to become better people. Roman believes in independent thinking. In his view, at least 80% of mainstream media news stories are biased, and people should be less naive with the facts presented to them. Author of 6 books, Roman has keenly advocated health protocols, which have helped people take control over their lives. Not one to pull punches, Roman is with us today to tell us more. So welcome, Roman, to this summer webinar.
Hello.
Roman, tell me, why do you think health is so important?
Right. Before I start telling you about it, I'd like to say I'm not a medical doctor, so it's not medical advice, and whatever you do is you do it at your own responsibility or benefits. Health is not only about suffering. Health is something much, much more. A healthy body is a good vehicle for mind and soul. We can realize, carry out our lives, we can do different things. The point is that most people have no idea what real health is. If they don't suffer, they think they are healthy. It's not true. There are many social and physical things connected with it. Somebody may be very ill, not able to do anything being 40, and somebody else being 80 or 90 can have minds like a razor, like a sharp razor, and then he can achieve different things, and being well balanced may build up a strong belief system, which is important here and there.
Okay, so what you're talking about is quality of life?
Quality of life in terms of, physical aspects, as well as some spiritual ones.
Right. So how would you define illness?
Well, I think most of us know very well that what mainstream medicine call illnesses are just different symptoms, very, very numerous symptoms of quite a few reasons. Let's think about Candida. Doctors reluctantly recognize it. Some of them still don't want to acknowledge that something like this exists. But Candida itself can give 200 or more different symptoms, and mainstream medicine willingly gave different names of diseases to them. Candida, in your head you must see a neurologist or psychiatrist. Candida in your knee, you go to some other kind of doctor. Some Candida in your intestines, you go to another doctor. And if you want to cure, if a doctor acknowledges it, they don't offer interesting, efficient methods of curing. They even try to use antibiotics, which mostly do not work. They won't tell us that Candida feeds on heavy metals, and without it, it is very, very difficult to root out.
And so, if we remove the heavy metals, we can also remove Candida?
Right. Candida is easy to remove after you remove heavy metals.
If we do not remove the heavy metals, is it difficult to remove?
Yes.
So it makes sense, doesn't it, to remove heavy metals?
It does. I observed this many times.
And it's so simple. Well, you know, there's simple procedures one can do, but we'll cover these probably a little bit later, because I'm very interested to know, how did you first get interested in health treatments?
20 years ago, I wasn't as healthy as today. I did some reading and realized then, and I still believe this is the case, that some root reason for many problems with health is parasites. So I knew about parasites, but I still didn't know how to deal with this problem. I knew that drugs available in drugstores work for 1, 2, or 3, and they are poisonous to the body. Somehow I believed more vets than medical doctors. I had a talk to a vet who gave me some directions, which really worked. But I really got interested in health. One day, it was maybe 2002, when my wife was taken to hospital and released after several days. They didn't recognize what was the problem. But the day I took her home and talked to her, she complained about some pain, ache in her hand, arm, and we noticed that she had a stripe going up from the place where the venous catheter was placed in hospital. So it was some kind of infection.
Oh dear.
And
what color was the stripe? Was it like a red?
Right.
Okay.
So it could be very dangerous, or it could not. I don't know. But
no.
but she started to feel bad. I took her back to hospital, and they didn't want to admit her. It was Saturday, and they said, "Go with her on Monday to your GP."
That's terrible. Why did they not want to admit her? Why is it?
This is as I see it, how the system works, and probably this is the case in many different countries. It's not about healing people; it's about making money.
Okay.
And I took her back, and because she felt worse and worse, I had to do something. And within several hours, I found a device which later on started to be very important to me, and I really tried to popularize it. It's blood cleaner by Robert Beck.
Yes, I've heard the blood purifier, they call it. Yeah.
And blood purifier.
And it's something quite simple that anyone can make, can't they?
It is quite simple, really. It can be made in different ways. Fortunately, I like to do some DIY from time to time, so I always got different electronic elements. I was able to assemble such a simple but working device, and I connected it to my wife's wrists, 2 wrists then.
Yes.
And she was beginning to lose her consciousness then.
Wow.
So after maybe two hours, she started to be better, and I knew that it does work.
Wonderful, wonderful.
And that was the beginning. I realized that it really works.
Did you use anything else on your wife to help her get better at that time?
I continued reading, and within 2 days, this is the time I needed to purchase silver wires. I started making colloidal silver, and just maybe 2 months later, I wrote a book, Zappa in Practice, the first book on Zappas in Poland, which was selling quite well.
Yes.
I wrote about different things there, about Clark's Zappa. I suggested people how to improve Clark's Zappa functioning. It's a very simple trick with the resistor pin 3 of the chip 555. The resistor should be not 1 kilo, but for example 220 ohms, and a condenser capacity right parallel to this.
Okay. So viewers, you can see the technical side of Roman coming through now. So he's a self-taught man, as well as having formal qualifications. He's never really stopped learning. His wife got ill, and he researched a way to make her better.
Let me add something. Using practically Beck's methods, I mean Zappa and colloidal silver, and drinking a lot of ozonated water, I healed my leaking guts. It happened after maybe a year. It wasn't my goal, but I was really astonished, noticing this.
How did you know that you healed your leaking gut using ozone?
The very simple test. You eat cooked beetroots, and you observe the color of your urine, and if it changes color into some kind of pink, you've got leaking guts. If it doesn't, it's okay.
So you drink a glass of this juice, and then
or eat two cooked beetroots.
Okay, and so you drink this beetroot juice. If your urine turns this red color, then you've got a leaking gut.
Yes, this is how I see this.
Okay, and so after you treated yourself with this ozonated water, if you drank the same beetroot juice,
right,
your urine would not.
It may be maybe yellow, but not pink.
It's quite a simple test. Anyone can do this. They don't need to go to a doctor for testing to see if
the doctors don't know about it. Most of them.
No, but it's a way that anyone at home can have a test to see if they have a leak.
Right. My wife followed this path, and she also healed her guts.
Wow.
But it's quite difficult to convince my wife to follow more paths.
I think she will be representative of a lot of people that have a lot of faith in doctors. Why do you think so many people are ill?
There are different reasons to it. we live in quite a different environment. Food doesn't contain so many nutrients as it was 30, 40, 50 years ago.
Right.
There are a lot of chemicals which neutralize different benefit things which could benefit to our health. When you don't know this, you've got problems. Another thing is that we eat a lot, probably too much cooked food, and the result is that enzymes which are responsible for transfer of oxygen to the inside of our cells is, very difficult, sometimes impossible, and it results in many different problems, because the lack of oxygen in your cells means that the cell cannot get cleaned, cannot remove different poisons, and what is interesting, it also doesn't have enough oxygen to burn glucose and to produce energy. And if the lack of oxygen is big enough, then we can talk about cancer. The reason of cancer, and I believe it is like this, was established by a German doctor, Dr. Warburg, and he got two Nobel Prizes in the 40s, 50s.
Yes.
And it was once acknowledged by a big part of medical community that the lack of cancer, the basic reason of cancer is the lack of oxygen in your cells. Because when you don't have enough oxygen, then the process of fermentation starts. And the 40% of energy taken from fermentation may be considered cancer.
Gosh. And so with a dietary change, people can reduce their chance of getting cancer.
Yes. Look, whatever worsens the transfer of oxygen into cells is cancerogenic.
Okay.
Of course, this is a simple notion. Probably there are different other reasons.
Okay, but this may be something that people can, they can perhaps do a change in their lifestyle and reduce the chance of...
Change, all right. So I would say this, that we should change our attitude towards health. We must understand that health is not about going to the doctor. That it's useless to go to the doctor to get health. We must take the responsibility for our health. We must understand that we mustn't, give the right the power over our health to some outside institution. It is especially good. So this is really gullible to go to the doctor. We must we must not give away the freedom, right, to control our health to others, because we will not get freedom or health. Nothing.
Now, you invited me to your home 2 days ago, and well, Roman showed me what he is doing to keep his health great. And Roman, I was wondering if you can tell our viewers what you do each day to keep so healthy.
Right. I made several colloidal silver makers. Practically, I drink colloidal silver maybe twice a week.
Okay.
There's some big disinformation related to colloidal silver. The money big pharma is getting is really huge, and after 2000, the money went up sevenfold, I think. And they spend it to, how they call it, to build the awareness of society. Awareness. Like, if you are ill, you must go to the drugstore, right? That you must, get mammography if you are a woman, etc. Such things. So they realize that more and more people know about colloidal silver. So they counteract. They, in a very, very clever way, convinced many people that the doses should be a teaspoon or two a day. Yes. It does not work. It's in terms of maybe, this trace mineral, but if you want to get healthy, drink a lot. If I am, I've got flu or something, I drink 3 glasses, and I'm not afraid about the good bacteria in my guts. Initially, I didn't think about it at all, and I never had any problems. So it seems that silver is friendly to us.
Okay.
And it doesn't. But if you want to behave in a safe way, you can drink it very, very slowly. So it is taken by the body before it gets intestines.
Okay.
So again, don't be afraid of colloidal silver.
You do other things as well, don't you?
Right. Right. I can say about magnetic pulsars.
Yes.
I did maybe 10 for my friends, family, and me. The first one was quite simple, the Beck's style. Robert Beck included pulsar in his protocol to get microbes hiding in glands, right inside. So when you use this pulsar, muscles work in such a way that the inside, the microbes inside are pumped out, and then they can be killed in the bloodstream with his zapper.
Yes. Zapper. And so you've got quite a large coil, I saw.
Right.
It was that size.
Yeah. This is another coil. This is coil. This is just something which can be in a very, very, very beneficial way controlled by Spooky 2. It's very, very simple. I've got a project, and quite a few people in Poland bought it, build it, and I even got some feedback on the way it works. This pulsar, and this big coil. I've got 3 such coils, 3 kilo coils, because I can use it up to 10 minutes, and then it gets really hot. So then I just replace the coil. It can be controlled by Spooky, and if I use a small duty cycle, then it can work more. Thank you for this piece of information. I didn't know that short impulses give a lot of harmonics in the case of pulsars.
Roman and I exchanged a few ideas whilst we were at his house. He's a man full of ideas. He does his research and he walks the walk. So this is why it's such a pleasure to have him here. Roman, I'd like to talk a bit more about your books. You said before your first book was about zappers. When you're treating your wife, you discovered just how zappers were quite functional. What was the next book that you wrote?
Right. It was again connected with Beck's procedure. We have talked a little bit about it. It's about hydrogen peroxide and ozone. Active oxygen, this is the title in Polish. Aktywny tlen. Right. People really liked it, and I wrote about several then new things for people. For example, hydrogen peroxide against cancer. So there are very, very simple procedures. It boils down itself into sprinkling some strong hydrogen peroxide into a glass of water. For example, 0.1 up to 0.6% or more, and drink it. People with advanced cancer got healed, and I heard about people who took 50 drops of this strong peroxide, right? 50 drops in a glass of water twice a day. It works miracles. This is one thing, and the other is about ozone. This is a very elegant method because drinking peroxide is disgusting for many people, right?
Yes,
including me.
Okay.
So you can just it's really worth to buy an ozone generator. It is, I don't know, $40-50 dollars, and if you want to have one with sequential way of working, you pay maybe 80 or 100, and it is a must to have it at home because you can ozone the whole water. When you have a ozone generator and you use it in a liter jar of water, you get rid of chlorine very fast. If you you don't have a filter and you want to get rid of it, you must keep it in open vessel, and it lasts 48 hours. And you've got this generator. The pump, the air removes it. Apart from it, it oxidizes heavy metals. So and any unwanted biological life is also killed.
So for something is between $50 and $80, which is the price of going to the doctor once.
Right.
You've got something which can last a long time.
Right. I bought maybe 3 at home and several for my friends and family. From China, small money, and if I bought, for example, 7 or 8, just one broken down, and it was $40. So they are durable, they work splendidly.
Right. And you've written 6 ebooks in total.
Right.
Can you tell me more about the other ebooks that you've written?
Right, so the next one was about colloidal silver. And yeah, well, I must say I like this book because writing this book, I really learned to tell the difference between information and commercials. Right, when you read something, when you listen to somebody, be aware of who tells you that. We are, you know, there is so much informational harm around us, and we must be able to find the good information. So it was very difficult to find good information about silver. In those years, a small bottle cost really huge money.
Sure.
Several years ago.
Sure.
Right. And now after 7 years, you can buy a liter for the same or smaller price, and it is good because people know how to tell that the silver is good. So I described a machine, how to change polarization, what is the key thing. The key thing is to limit the current. So, for example, if you've got 2.5 milliliter diameter silver wire, and it is 10-12 centimeters in water, you use 1.3 milliamperes, and then it guarantees that the particles are small enough to attack viruses.
Right. Okay, well, those are metric dimensions for our American listeners. I've got no idea what the
So the current must be limited. If you don't limit this way, right, you can use a simple chip. 317 current limiter, one resistor, and this, and so you pay, I don't know, 50 cents or not, right?
Yeah.
And you've got a very good limiter to produce colloidal silver.
Wow. And your other ebooks that you've written?
All right. So the next one was something different. No more about Robert Beck's ideas, right?
Okay.
It was about diatomaceous earth. It is called diatomit strażnikiem twojego zdrowia. Diatomit, a guard of your health. And so I gave a lot of testimonies from people. The procedure how to get rid of pathogens. Diatomaceous earth are very small pieces of very, very hard kind of rock. Practically it's milled
Ground.
Right, grounded. It is taken from the bottom of lakes, grounded. Right. And if you take it, it is so hard and so sharp that it kills different worms in your intestines.
Wow.
And because different worms function in different organs of our body, they are also killed because from time to time they like to come back to intestines to have a meal. And diatomaceous earth is waiting, and the procedure lasts I don't remember, 6 or 12 weeks. It is very, very efficient, and people who undertook this procedure told me about better health, about much better complexion, because the worms, the bugs killed are no more competitors for silicon in our body. I also got a testimony from a lady who was scheduled for a liver transplant, and it was not necessary. She's healthy.
Just through using diatomic earth.
Right, just diatomic earth.
It's amazing. So you've got all these different protocols for that people can use for gaining health. Can they be combined? Can someone take, say, colloidal silver, use a zapper, and also consume diatomic earth?
Diatomic earth, maybe it's got this beneficial influence for us. It may be used also for animals, cats, dogs, and also cows, horses, sheep, and farmers. I think many farmers know a lot about it.
Okay.
And
can you combine the different methods?
Yes, of course. When you use diatomaceous earth, the big worms are cut, and as we know, different smaller ones leave their corpses, right? Okay. And if you know how to use vibrational methods, function generators, Spooky2 would be very, very good here. You can first take care of the small ones, and then you can safely use diatomaceous earth, and you suffer much less, because using it without taking care of the small ones may be quite painful for some.
And so it might be best to use more than just diatomic earth. Maybe also use a zapper or something similar, or Spooky2. It might be better that way, you think?
Yes, of course, because this is an auxiliary method.
Okay.
Right. But I was a fan of zappers. I'm not anymore, and zapper has become some symbol of electrotherapy in many countries, I think. This is the case in Poland.
Okay.
And now when people ask me about zapper, Roman, what should I buy, etc., I tell them, listen, look, it's not about zappers anymore.
Okay, there's much more that someone can do. Right. So for all the books that you have written, do you have a favorite?
The favorite one is, I must say this, is iodine, or iodine?
Yes,
iodine, Unwanted Truth. It's a 90-page book with a lot of footnotes, and it was very difficult for people to acknowledge what I wrote this, because I taught people and I gave them evidence, literature, that the norm which mainstream medicine tell us to take is 100 times too small. And for example, I read somewhere that 30% of American women have their wombs removed. 40%.
40.
Right, 40%. But this is a fact. And as I see it, it may be easily avoided by these women if they understand and take iodine. The best and the cheapest way of taking iodine is in its Lugol's Lugol solution. 5 grams of iodine, 10 grams potassium iodide,
Okay.
right? And 85 gram water. It doesn't have to be distilled, it may be just demineralized water. You wait several hours, you shake it. Remember that the cover must be plastic, it can't be metal. It's a good idea to have a dropper. One drop has got it's got 6.25 milligrams of this precious mineral.
Okay.
And an average dose for women is 3 drops a day. On weekdays, it's advisable to have a break during the weekends. And remember to take selenium with it. It's necessary.
And so if a woman took this regularly, in your view, there'd be fewer women that have had to have their the insides carved out, their wounds removed. Is that fair to say? Do you agree that if someone did regularly take iron?
Right. I got a lot of feedback. And for example, it's interesting thing that a woman writes to me because there are different people. One of them was wise enough to start taking iodine, and her health improved. Her health improved, but she went to the doctor, and the tests were not good. And then she wrote to me, Roman, what shall I do? I am going to the doctor, and now I must tell him I'm taking a Lugol's solution. What to do? And I told them I got angry. I told her, if medical tests are more important for you than the fact that you feel good, stop drinking Lugol's and follow the doctor's advice. But a lot of feedback is about success. They feel better, but not everybody. And this is what I'm thinking about. There is much more to it. When you take iodine, you should also remember about some more things. For example, in many cases, you must take vitamins B2, vitamin of youth, and B3, which is absolutely necessary for several reasons for us, and also magnesium, and magnesium via transdermal method. You just make solution of it. It is very cheap. You can buy a kilo or a pound, paying $2, I don't know, right? And you make solution with water and use it. I usually use it to the upper part of my body. Some people complain that if they put it on legs, they've got scratch.
Okay.
But it's safe absolutely for the upper part of the
Does it get absorbed by your skin?
It is considered to be much more efficient than for example, ingesting magnesium, and it is said that just 2 or 3 weeks is better than half a year or a year of ingesting tablets, which don't have magnesium in them.
So what are your future plans? We've talked about what you've done in the past and what you're doing now.
Right. This is. Let me say about something else. It's about Rife machine. 4 years ago, I wrote Rife machine, Time for Reincarnation, and I must say that among references, there is the something by you. I will show you.
Okay.
Right? Several, a dozen or more pages about spooky too. And the most important thing I was writing about in this book is Lyme. It is a real problem. Probably most of you know that Lyme is several strains of microbes, most of them artificially engineered.
Okay.
There are some fragments of syphilis in the DNA chain of them, so it's obvious that it's not just an accident.
Okay.
So looking for a way of something of efficient curing, I researched Dog machine, and later on I went over to conventional plasma machines and spooky too. Then, just an example. If you take antibiotics, Brian Rosner wrote about it in Rife Machines and Lyme, such a book. After 8 months, the load of this microbe goes down to 85%, and next month nothing changes, but the antibiotic kills you, right?
Yes.
And 85%, that's it. There was research on it. And if you use a Rife machine, after 3 months you've got just, I don't remember, it's in the book, maybe 15 or 20%.
Right.
It goes down to 20%, and it's after next several months, it's better and better. And some time ago you asked about how long does it take to get recovered, and it depends on how long you have had some illness. But it is people say about maybe 2 years of using Rife machine. It is not clear if Rosner means a plasma Rife machine or Dog machine.
Dog machine, for viewers who don't know, is a very powerful coil machine, and Roman has made his own Dog machines in his home. I'm just going through some of our chat messages that have come through. Anne, hi Anne, you've asked how much of the diatomic earth would you consume daily?
Right. You can start with maybe a teaspoon, 2 or 3 times a day, and observing how you feel. You may take much more, I mean, maybe 2 spoons, right? Twice a day. Just observe yourself and adjust the amount. It's not critical at all.
And you stir it with water,
right? Of course, and be careful because the air may not rise it into the air, and it's a long time for the dust to settle.
Understand. It's a very fine.
And we shouldn't take care of your eyes, right? And don't breathe in.
Right. If someone, do you understand a prolapse of the uterus? If someone has an existing uterus problem, can
yes. In this book, I wrote about a woman. I found an interesting testimony of a woman who had this problem, and she did a research, found information about iodine, was brave, used it,
yes,
and she was scheduled for such an operation, and it turned out it was not. She started. The doctor came back and said no operation, and she was convinced that the state of her is too bad, and he said there is no need to operate anymore.
Isn't that amazing?
Right.
It's really great news.
And it is very, very important for women, this iodine, because women every month get prepared to get pregnant, and some cells in the ovaries, on the breasts, come to being, and then they must be removed via a process of apoptosis, right? And this process cannot go on without iodine, and because women has got 100 or less iodine that they need, this process of apoptosis is right non-existing. So breasts give pain. They got cysts on their ovaries and problems with uterus
because they are low in iodine.
Right.
Okay. Wow.
But again, remember iodine and selenium, and don't believe different information from the mainstream how selenium is dangerous. It's, as I see it, disinformation.
I find the best sources of information are people that actually have got the experience. You're one such man, which is why I'm so pleased you could be here today. Another question has come through, and you're asking, can you put iodine in the skin?
Yes. It's a hardcore method, but it can be cancer, it can be anything. It works, but it can be quite painful. It is safe, but it is hardcore method.
Okay, maybe the iodine can be made less strong and then put on your skin?
Right, that's a good idea.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So, one more thing about iodine. That we can also make alcohol solutions. There's a story about an American colonel who fought under some general, and this colonel got terribly wounded, and he was scheduled to die, right?
Yes.
But his wife, who was a 24-year-old girl, very beautiful, decided not to let him die. So she kept bringing Lugos to hospital. No, it was maybe 1864.
Has Lugos been going for that?
Lugos, or maybe this is with alcohol.
Okay.
This solution.
Okay.
And even the doctor then prescribed, putting iodine on his wounds, but she, on average, did it 100 more times than the doctor prescribed.
Wow.
A lot, and she recovered.
Well, she did a beautiful thing there, didn't she?
Yes. So, right.
Can the iodine be used for if someone's got eczema on the skin, a rash on their skin?
I don't have any experience with eczema, but I remember writing in the book that it can be anything. But as I said, it may be painful. But as you said, it may be weaker solution. But I can't say decidedly yes, no.
Another question has come in. This is from Camelia. Hi Camelia, welcome. Camelia is asking if someone has too much silver in their body.
Well, it's strange because maybe not silver, but some silver salts. Ionic silver, the absolutely transparent one, made with the use of distilled water, is absolutely safe, and your body gets rid of it very quickly. So I don't understand how you can have maybe salts, maybe vitamin C. You should take vitamin C. What comes to my mind?
And that helps to
to get rid of it. There is some procedure, but it's in the book. I don't remember now. To get rid of the problem when somebody has got argyria, doctors try to get people scared with argyria. So there is some argyria protocol. Try to look for argyria protocol.
Right. You don't know anything about electronics, and you are watching this video now. What advice would you give yourself so that you can restore your health? Can you suggest anything that you for viewers?
Yes. First of all, start thinking independently.
Yes.
Don't sell your health. Don't give the responsibility to the mainstream. Just think. Just more trust and self-esteem. And if you want to find precious information, you must dig a little bit. Remember that 80% of what you are told is a brazen lie. So, well, I would keep far away from mainstream. Now, eating. Avoid this artificial fats, right? Take animal fats, pineapple oil.
I've never heard of coconut oil.
Coconut oil, right? It's really good.
And of course, the doctors say coconut oil is saturated fat, and so it's bad for you, and you've got to avoid it.
Right. Think independently.
Yeah. It's the same where all this misinformation is being presented to people, and they're from people that people trust.
I've got this Rife machine here, and I'd like to ask you and Echo about signatures there. Right?
About the
signatures. My book, Rife machine. Right?
we all sign your book, but I don't think I'm that famous or important. I'll certainly sign the book. Would you say that your treatments are better than drugs?
All right, sir. All right. Drugs don't heal. Drugs treat, and they are made to make cash for the establishment, and they very well remember that a patient cured is a client lost.
And that's sad. And nothing's better than repeat customers, so they want their customers to come back. And so it makes sense then to make a drug that controls a condition, stabilizes the condition.
Many doctors believe in their methods. I think even some of them who are intelligent. There several years ago, and there was such a thing here that a medicine professor, well known for his heart transplants,
yes,
got cancer, and he took this killing methods. Right. I always wonder why people take chemotherapy when it is very well known that within 5 years 97% of people die.
Right.
Why?
Because they listen to what they want to hear, and they trust people blindly.
Right.
I think it's really the thing.
Gullibility.
Your views on this are exactly the same as mine, and it's the purpose of these webinars that we have. SEMA is set up to teach people different ways of restoring health, and I've learned a lot from our talk already, and we're not even finished yet. We've got a few more questions to get through, still before the end. Is it important for exercise?
Yes, but not professionally to get records, but just recreationally. But it is necessary, of course, right?
Okay, is that because of circulation? Why is exercise so important?
Because this is how we were devised, and so many generations lived working. So we need it. I can say more, but somehow it triggers something important in the body.
Okay. And the role of sleep and rest. If someone's sick, quite often they want to have longer sleeps. Is that your body healing while you're sleeping?
Yes, your body gets healing while sleeping. So we need sleep.
Okay, wonderful. Well, we've covered all the questions that have come through. Someone has asked, was Anne again, she's asking molasses. Molasses is that brown sugary solution. Have you had any experience with that?
No, I don't know.
Okay. I've heard that molasses is very good for iron and other trace minerals.
Some minerals, right?
Maybe
like that.
And a single tablet can't cover all your bases. So something natural like molasses, which is basically a waste product of making pure sugar. It's healthy, it's cheap. Why not? Okay, well, thank you very much for being on this week's episode of SEMA. You've given a lot of information. You've given people a lot to think about. So thank you very much.
It was a pleasure to be here.
This webinar was recorded in Poland. Poland's a beautiful country. If you want to see a country which has got plenty of sunshine and beautiful people, take a trip over here. It's not what you may have in your mind of what Poland is like. It's totally different to how we thought it was going to be. We've been to Italy and France. And
let me say that about my internet site. It's and unfortunately it's in 95% in Polish. So guys, if you speak Polish, it may be interesting for you.
Well, do you want to talk a little bit in Polish, just to say where your site is and how people can also buy your e-books?
In Polish, no?
Yes.
Right. Gdyby ktoś z Państwa znał język polski, chciałbym powiedzieć o mojej stronie internetowej Vibronica przez V, vibronica.eu. Mam tam sporo informacji. Mam również e-booki, projekty urządzeń technicznych. Zapraszam. Natomiast I've also have got some articles in English.
Wonderful. I was going to ask you that because we've got a huge English user base, and I was wondering, your e-books, are they in Polish, written in Polish?
Yes, they are in Polish. But I'm thinking about translating one or two into English.
I'd suggest you translate all 6 because they all sound very interesting.
Now I'm going to have more free time, so I think about it.
Yes. So, would you consider translating the books to English?
Yes. It is an idea.
Because you're a man who's learned through experience, and you have a lot
of... translating the projects would be a good idea, because I got some messages from Spooky 2 forum. People were interested, but when they learned that it's in Polish, well,
it's difficult to follow. But if we do the translation, it'll benefit more people. It'll widen the audience.
Right.
So we'll consider that, shall we?
Yes.
Well, thank you everyone for watching this episode of SEMA. It's been a pleasure to have Roman on board and tell us about his experiences. And he's more than a man that just talks the talk. He walks the walk as well, with treatments with his wife, and now he's treating many other people. So thanks once again, Roman, for coming here.
It was my pleasure.
We look forward to next week having Jason Ringers back with us. He's our expert. We're going to talk about the Royal Rife microscopes and more. And the more is quite a broad subject matter, but Jason is very knowledgeable in many areas, and so it's going to be an interesting episode indeed. So thank you everyone for watching this SEMA, and I look forward to catching you next week. Goodbye. Hey, you're supposed to say goodbye. Wonderful. Well, that's great. I'll I'll turn the recording off. Oh, well, people can see.
It's very good.
It was great. Now, for our viewers, this won't be in our published video, but Roman is self-taught English. He did not have formal training, and he's and pretty much most of what he's doing now is self-taught, and so he hasn't restricted himself. The thing that struck me when I first met Roman, I knew he was. Can I say your age? I knew that he was. I don't know. He's around 65, right? Just
66.
66. Oh, I said around. Roman, now you've look. This is a 66-year-old man. I was looking out for a guy that was kind of old, and it couldn't be this guy because he's much too young. And he blew me away just how much vitality he had, how much energy, and so what he's doing is actually working for himself. So he's using what he has learned on himself, and he's also lifting the quality of lives of other people up as well. And I'll put you back in the picture there, Roman.